Oh, but you come with the structure, so you'll be floating.
There's just too much to talk about it.
Ah, Lubaton.
So much to talk about. Well, I want to veer off from, because when it comes to projects, there are so many projects, but some of them just stand out. You have been talking about Lagos. As I look at your table, I can see a book by architect Kunle Adeyemi, African Water City, and Lagos, as we know, is below sea level, and then Lagos Island is particularly plagued with flooding, and then one of the innovations that has been credited to you was how to resolve the perennial flooding that Lagos Island experienced. And I remember the Honorable Commissioner, Honorable Tuli Bello, was saying that you were very convincing about how that could be solved, and then even though that was not implemented, but it's all being implemented. Can you tell us about
Okay.
We've been there.
Really?
We've been there. Something. Very, very active.
Okay, let me say this. I like challenges. And I dare to be different. Some people call me a madman. I call myself a madman. I'm not a mad, insane person, but I make a difference. Mad make a difference. I'm not comfortable when I get somewhere and I see you doing something and I say, okay, sorry, is that how you're doing it? Let's continue doing it. No, I'm not comfortable. Even if what you're doing is very good, very successful, I'll always go how we can make it better. One of my former bosses, PS Bradley Dapper Thomas, she said, Are Obale, be so inde. Do you know what that means? I'm not patient. I can't just be. I mean, your Bible said that being kon. If something is not happening to you, you must be doing something. Positive, not negative though. That has been with me all my life. I told you about when we were at, you see, every governor does roads, houses, water project. All over, everywhere they do it. But Lake Osunede does not feel comfortable doing the same thing others have done. I like to stand out, doing something that will solve a problem. I don't believe I have to copy what my organs have been doing for the past 20 years. I will keep doing the same thing. Do you get it? My calling as an engineer is to design solution from first principle. What is wrong with you? You are hungry. What is the kind of hunger? What is your nature? I will design what fits your problem. What fits does not fit the other person. What fits area A does not fit area B. So when Mr. Governor created ODS, Island was an issue. And one major issue we had in Lagos is the low-lying nature of Lagos. And then, they used to say, when I was still a subordinate, I was in the Oga, that we should be doing sea-level canal. In my engineering, there is nothing like that. When you do a sea-level canal, you must have something. I mean, drainage should have energy. Hydraulics is backed with energy. Water can only flow downwards, right? Water cannot rise. For water to come up, it's going to rise in volume. And what rises, you are flooding everywhere. So when I have a sea level, that's why you see your canals always with water year in, year out, day in, day out, every time. Because the lagoon is there, is the end condition. For you to flow into the lagoon, every water, Lagos goes into the lagoon, from northern states, Ogun, Oyo, or all of them. So you need energy. You need to raise your drain up for it to flow into the lagoon. But if we can't fill this up, how do we create the energy to flow into the lagoon? I mean, simple solution. You have to pump. In your house, you have a pumping machine. From your borehole, it brings it up. Water will flow down, but you can lift water up. Very simple engineering. Create a pumping station. Lagos Island is almost 2 meters below sea level. So that's why you see the flooding every time. And it has been there forever. We just, okay, let's do what we have been doing. This is a case study. And like I said, this is a project that will stand out any government that does it. It has not been done before in Nigeria. We're having a pumping station. So Lagos is like Amsterdam in Holland, whereby surrounding water is higher than you. So we now conceived the Iluberi project, whereby we did a pumping station that has a capacity to do 3 million liters. That means that your 1,000 liter tank, it can pump 3,000 of each in 1 hour. So within 1 hour, the pump will take out 3 million liters. So whatever rainfall is on the island, since there is no energy from gravity, from gradient, let the thing stay in the canal, but we'll take it out artificially by energy, imbued energy. So that's what we did. And the capacity of the channel, I mean, the pump that we use is not enough the pump of the counter pump. The only way it has been used was just in Amsterdam too. And this project is the first of its kind in Africa that the governor is sponsoring and supporting. So that was, I mean, with Mr. Bello's support, he believed in the vision, and we started. Even though some colleagues didn't believe in it, they didn't believe it will work. But not too long ago, the first pump was tested. And in another 2-3 weeks, the project will be completed. So Lagos Island will be free of flooding. Because the entire, I mean, let me just point this out. This will be the first pumping station in Lagos. Oh. As far back as the 60s, before the colonial masters left, Ikoyi had a pumping station. Island had so many pumping stations. Because it was realized that this place is a low-lying area. You had to pump out. But along the line, we dropped the ball when I started creating sea-level canals. Like I said, I'm not a patient person. I look at the problem and I want to solve it. But you might not understand what I'm doing, but I dare to stand against the majority if I can. But if I can't, okay, I'll be with you, but I'll keep telling you, this is what I believe we should be doing, but I'll follow you to do what you want to do. But when I have the authority to do what I have to do, I will do what needs to be done. So that project, when delivered, will solve island. We have 3 of such pumps. Each one can do 3 million liters. So, and it's automated. You don't need to go there to on the pump and switch off. The level of the water will regulate the pumping activity. When the canal is full, it pumps. It goes down. When there's power, it uses public power. When there is no power, it switches to generator automatically without any control, manual. If we're allowed, it's possible that they will add some SCADA control to it. So anywhere in the world, you can, from your phone, look at the performance of the, I mean, it's something that when commissioned, I'm sure the Lagos State government will be able to showcase it as best as it were.
Feeling you're excited.
No, I am excited. Because you see, as a human being, it's not about money. Money is the most useless thing God has created. But when you create legacy, when you see your brain, something you thought of from first principle, not something that somebody came to tell you to do. This project was done by me and my guys in drainage. We designed the sea, everything. It wasn't successful all the way. We had our challenges along the way, tank collapsing, so many things. But the beauty is that we fell down, we failed, we rose up, and we continued. We learned our lesson along the way. So if the states were to do something like that again, we have gained experience. So I'm leaving it, I'll be out of the picture anyway, but I'm retiring. But I've trained, I've exposed my colleagues to such. This project is the first viable flotation done by Lagos State government. That's a foundation technology. It's a soil improvement technology because we expose engineers to such things that you might be hearing it, but we are going to do it. The other one to hear will make you see those things you have learned in school.
Speaks of legacy.
So that's what makes me happy. That's what makes me happy.
It's okay. I mean, even though I still have a question concerning a very monumental project, I don't want to leave this area. You just talked about exposing younger engineers, because this is about legacy. There's a transition which I see. I mean, you're going to be out of the service, but the knowledge which you have bequeathed and then the data which you have gathered, the information that has been created. I think it was also Honorable Tunde Bio that talked about some of the data that you have gathered, in terms of all the systems, the water system, the draining systems in Lagos State. So how this legacy that you talked about, this knowledge, this first principle, as you rightly call it, how do you see it being driven on when you are out of the service?
Well, government is about a system, but the system won't run itself. You need people to run the system. And for the system to work, people need to believe in their capacity and capabilities. The system is as good as the people that are involved, unfortunately. When I was there, I tried my best. Anywhere I am, let me just do this simple story. I don't know, maybe my interview is getting too long, so I don't know. Dr. Banire exposed me to my first foreign travel in 2009. Not to America or England, Dr. Banire, former commissioner. I went to Malaysia for a 3 weeks course. When I got to Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur, I was Malaysia and Nigeria were contemporaries. How did we miss it? Before then, I thought, okay, London, America, they are better than us. They can have a better life. So we are just, because we're not like them. But when I got to Malaysia, I said, what is happening? We gave them the first palm kernel seed that they planted, like we had in Israel. I wasn't there. But I saw things they were doing locally by themselves, how they were managing their drainage, stormwater infrastructure, very green. I came back, I told Oga, get it. Sorry, we're not getting things right. Something is wrong up here. Badun. We can't be doing concrete all the time. There are greener ways of solving drainage. I did a presentation about everything, but it was just making fun at it. It was just making fun of me. So that exposure to foreign travel busted a fuse in my head that we're not normal. That no. Because oftentimes when I want to do something, they will tell me, work nibijo. It gives me a lot of problem. That statement gives me a lot of problem. By my organs thing. That your idea is good, yeah, engineering wise, but our system will not allow it to, to succeed. So I asked my group, are we still monkeys in the jungle then? I mean, if some people can so temper their appetite, temper their intellect to be doing something positive, why should I say we cannot make it happen here? We all travel abroad, we enjoy the infrastructures that is available. So why can't we make it happen here? So I said, that was when I became mad. After that Malaysian trip, I became a madman. But all my remaining years in service, so I will dare to make a difference. So anywhere I go to as a head, my colleagues know me, I always encourage foreign trips if I have the opportunity. If you have any funds from anything, okay. Oh yeah, batches, yeah, please let's go. I mean, when I was in Laswamo, we took people to Germany to learn wastewater technology, how they can design, manage, and implement it. So people went to Singapore, Malaysia, all over. Just that when you leave your comfort zone, when you're in Nigeria, you won't know what you're missing, because you are seeing the same thing every day. But when you go out and you see the kind of life they are living, so you realize that something is wrong with us here. Now this is actually possible. So by the time we create that kind of exposure and education, gradually people's mindset will become a change mindset, not a fixed mindset. You can't be in the same area and have a change mindset. Because what the ear hears, it takes some time for the brain to process it. But what the eye sees gets processed instant. Do you feel me?
I get it.
So that is why one legacy I left, people need to be trained. Local exposure is not enough. People need to understand what is possible out there and bring it back home for us to enjoy it. Okay? So in terms of the data, I'll go back to the data. I didn't forget your question. That was just for you to show that for data to be sustainable and kept, yes, Lagos has master plans. But we have several master plans. But we don't have a plan for the state development. Lagos has evolved unplanned. Because if you're a land-owning family, you just sell your land, you know. This is the little part that I know, part of the world that development precedes governance. What do I mean? People would have built their houses before infrastructure catches up. It's not right. Because before you start a town, whatever you call it new town, all over, you would have known your projected population for that area. And you would have planned the necessary social fabric, social infrastructure that will run that population. Schools, hospital, roads, power, water, everything. But it don't happen like that. It is the reverse. So our infrastructure is running, is reactionary. We are reacting, we're not proactive. Government is not leading development, we are basically catching up. Even some government schemes that we have, they would have sold the land and there's still no infrastructure to serve the land that has been sold out. No roads, no nothing. So these are the challenges that we've seen. So those master plans are there actually. In drainage, for example, we have the stormwater master plan for primary channels. So after the primary channel, we have three categories of channels: primary, secondary, tertiary. But don't look at it literally. Primary is actually the big ones. But for school, it's a small one. So it's a reverse. Secondary is the middle one, while tertiary is now the lower one, the gutters in front of the houses. The primary are the canals, while secondary are the ones that connect between primary and the secondary. So we have the primary channel master plan. But we now started doing secondary collector master plan. I mean, this is to showcase that we don't have to just start designing off the head, off the cuff, following the existing trajectory. Before you go anywhere, there must be a master plan that you're implementing. Because when we joined South local government level, we were trained, there's always a government program. Or the government plan that becomes a program, that becomes a project. That's how we were trained. That's how we were trained. Government will have a plan. From that plan, you create a program from which you now generate projects. But now we don't just have projects. So there's an issue with our governance structure from where we started. Like I told you, we had older men that taught us where we started. So we tried to do the secondary collector master plan. We did a few before I left. I hope that they are continuing with doing the master plans. Because if you don't have a master plan, you won't know the next project you want to do. So that's the data HC Tunjibelu was referring to that. I didn't do the primary collector. It was done in 2015 by my predecessors. But when I got into office, I started the secondary collector, the next layer of master plans. But bottom line is, technology has gone beyond where we are. They don't do manual designs again. Engineers are at the level of modeling. We can model an entire area, the hydraulics of an entire area, and we will know the kind of drains that is required. So you can't be doing project by project design. You have to model an entire community to know where the water is going to come from, for you to now know exactly what you need to. And you don't even need to even provide that much drainage infrastructure in terms of concrete. When I was in drainage, I told you I was in Malaysia in 2009. When I became the PS, I brought back what I saw in Malaysia, the green engineering for drainage infrastructure. You know, God created the land, the ground. He's the biggest drainage infrastructure God has created. Ask me how. That's what we call the water cycle, right? We call it the hydrology cycle in engineering. Water cycle in science is that when rain falls, half of it, naturally, if the land is undisturbed, supposed to go into the ground. Abi? Percolation, shallow and deep.
If it's not the concrete.
Infiltration, yeah?
If the land
has not been disturbed, like I said. Naturally, that's the natural water cycle. That's God is the best engineer. He owns his world now. We are the ones distorting it. Another 40% should stay on the greens if you have not cut the trees and the all the foliage. Another 40% should be stored on the leaves. Only 10% should flow on the ground. If you know Ikoyi or GRA Ikeja, before they did all the bastardization, there were no fences. The entire water from Ikoyi will flow to where they call Park View now. It used to be called the Ikoyi Park. That was a swamp. So water will flow from Ikoyi all the way to Park View there into the lagoon. It was a herringbone, a fishbone design. Naturally. But when we start distorting the world, the land, I'm sure in your house you have concreted everything. So every water coming to your compound is going straight onto the road. Abi? So if all of us, like we've done that. That means that 90 that should have stayed within our compound, we're throwing out to the public space. So when the water now flows, it now goes and stays in front of somebody else's compound and floods that place. So the flooding happening is not because of the rainfall event, but because we have distorted the natural sequence of events. So when I was in drainage, we now started what we call SODS, Sustainable Urban Drainage Systems. SODS, sustainable, keyword sustainable, into the future, something that will be everlasting. Urban drainage, that one is clear. Lagos urban drainage, but it's a system. It has to be planned. What do we mean by this? That's another thing that we brought on board when I was there in drainage. That let us try and artificially recreate that natural phenomenon by God. The 90% stays in your compound, only 10% comes out. If you're able to all do just 10% coming out, that means there will be no flooding in the public space when it is raining. All of us are now throwing the entire thing out. Let's hold 90% artificially. When people that come from the village, they know what they call this roof gutter, locally called Oshoro, right? That's water they drink. That's pure. Rainwater is very pure water. Rainwater harvesting. You can harvest and recycle it. Don't even drink it. Use it for your flushing. Use it for your gardening. Use it for your washing or whatever. Because all of us use very expensive water from the borehole for these dirty things. Can imagine using bore water to flush toilet. So even the water now touches the floor, create a tank to collect it. You are recycling good resources. Rather than just throwing it out and now just flooding the entire community. Hold it. Well, okay, if you don't even want to recycle it, when the rain stops, let it go out. I saw it in Malaysia then in 2009. The entire compound will be flooded. In your house, for example, my house, for example, will create like a wall so that water won't go out. There is a gate. We have a drain that has a gate. And then that falls into the compound stays in the compound. When the rain stops and the water in the drain outside goes down, the gate opens naturally and water will start flowing out of the compound. So they call it attenuation of the flow. You're attenuating, you are relaxing, you are reducing the peak flow. Instead of just throwing everything out at the same time, you are allowing the natural sequence to occur. So there will be no flooding. So that's how we started that. In addition to the concrete infrastructure that we're creating, let people start imbibing salt. It's the best practice. Salt is not our word though. Salt is an international best practice word by international engineers, engineering organizations. Sustainable urban drainage system. There are so many. You can have your roof, green roof, whereby on your roof you can have a garden. When rain falls on your roof, you have some green plants there that is taking the water. So there are so many things you can use salt for. So we tried that as well when we were in drainage. So we just tried to, like I said, we did not do common things that has been done before. We just tried to bring in some new things, to the system that will help the environment.
Wow.
Eh? Kilo de?